it's Vanessa, V. Welcome to my channel where we discuss reigning over your life, conquering what's holding you back, and living life in victory each day using simplified strategies that work for you. Today we're going to talk about the pressures of quarantine because it's real. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what some of those pressures are and how to handle them and address them in ways that are healthier and work for us. It's going to help us break free even more from all the stressors that we've been having to deal with, the extra pressures and the extra stressors and anxiety that this quarantine has brought us into. Really quickly before we get started, as usual, I just want to toss in there my little disclaimer about the fact that I'm not a mental health care professional or a healthcare professional. What I am is an actress and speaker living with post-traumatic stress disorder, and my hope is by sharing these simplified strategies that I've had to learn and discover and master over these years since getting diagnosed, that they will help you just as much as they have helped me and so many others. Right before we hop into it, I just wanted to say, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, feel free to do that right now. That way you don't miss out on any amazing videos. Quick question, what pressures have you been experiencing during this experience? And how have you been able to handle them in ways that are healthy and feel good to you? The serious pressures of quarantine. Let's talk about that because it's a real thing and it's serious. It can have drastic effects on how we feel about ourselves and how we feel about the situation and how successfully we're actually able to move forward in a way that feels good and works for us. So some of those sources of pressure, as a lot of you probably know, are social media. Being on social media and seeing all these amazing things that everyone's doing. Seeing what other people are doing can definitely create a sense of, I'm not doing as much or I'm not doing enough. And we start to compete with other people without really realizing it. And it can distract us a little bit from maybe something that we're actually supposed to be doing or meant to do. But it doesn't just have to be social media. It can be our own expectations of ourselves, not wanting to waste this time. If you have free time during quarantine, maybe you're feeling like, well, now I have all this free time to get all these things done and I need to get them done because A, I'm grateful for this time, B, I've wanted to get these things done. I don't know how long this is going to last, so I just got to get it all done. How about the changes that have occurred, like wiping down whatever comes into your house? Things like that add pressure because it's almost like you have to remember it, right? Because the stakes are so high if I don't remember to do it and do it right and do it the way that works and was told to me, then I'm possibly going to get sick or make other people sick. So there's a lot of pressure to adapt to these changes quickly and almost expertly. And because there's a lot of them, it can seem even more overwhelming and more pressured. Am I right? And maybe you haven't been able to work and you're not sure when you're going to be able to go back to work. And you're fearful about being able to pay the bills and being able to just support your family or yourself. And what's that going to look like? And then when we actually do get back to work, how do we do that in a way that's safest for us and other people around us? If you're experiencing pressure during this time, first of all, it's completely normal, totally understandable. I've even experienced it a little bit myself. And if you're experiencing those negative effects of pressures, some of the stuff that you can be feeling right now is self-doubt or a lack of self-worth to some extent, guilt, unmotivation, feeling extra busy and extra energetic and motivated, fatigue, increased heart rate and tension, not that great of a memory, feeling overloaded, negative thinking, and a lot more. Obviously, there are a lot of things going on right now. So how do we handle all of that? How do we juggle that and not have it pull us down or force the situation to be darker and more dim and down than it actually has to be? So let's talk about that. If we think about it, pressure is sort of two categories. So there can be positive pressure or negative pressure, or rather the effects of pressure can either have positive results or negative results. And so what we're focusing mainly on today is those negative reactions that come with pressure. So When things occur that cause us to feel under pressure, what occurs is our brain has a reaction. If you haven't seen my video on the stressed brain explained, I invite you to click on that. I've put that in the description below because the information in that definitely applies to today's video and is really going to help us understand even more what's going on and how to fix it. But long story short, because pressure triggers our subconscious brain into that fight, flight, or freeze survival reactive mode, especially if we're in sort of a heightened state of stress already, that pressure often just loads right on top and increases that stress and anxiety and that reaction of our subconscious brain even more. And as we know from that previous video, what's gonna then occur is that rational part of that brain is just gonna shut off. It's gonna be overtaken and we're gonna experience symptoms that don't really feel like us. So what do we want to do? We want to try and let that part of the brain go so that we can get back into our rational thinking part of the brain. And that's where happiness and joy and relaxation lives. So we want to get back into there. Social media. Okay, I'm not going to go too deep into the negatives of social media and putting our phones down and not being online as much and all that stuff. Because even though I practice that, and I know a lot of us out there do and or know that it's a good idea, because that's a common thing to get talked about, I don't want to waste our time with that today. But some of the points that I want to make out is 3 key things that have to do with taking the pressure off of social media, or really 4. 1. Take social media as inspiration over pressure. So obviously a lot of times when we're on Instagram and Facebook and we're seeing these amazing things occur, sometimes it can make us feel like we're not doing enough or we should be doing what we're doing better or differently. We can kind of feel like maybe we should be doing more. Everyone else seems to be doing more or doing cool things. What's wrong with me? I should be doing this. I'm lazy and blah, blah, blah. We can start to experience, like I said before, negative thinking and guilt. And then it just starts to take this negative tumble. And that's not what we want. So instead, either before when we go onto our social media platforms or if we start to realize while we're going through that we're starting to feel some negative emotions, some extra pressures, one of the things that can really help is sort of helping our brain understand that this isn't necessarily pressure, this is inspiration. And shifting our thinking around to seeing it in that way can definitely help. And in seeing what other people are doing, maybe that's what they personally truly need to do to rejuvenate or to have a sustainable lifestyle during this situation. But what's meant for others isn't necessarily what's meant for you. So stripping away that competitiveness or that comparison and really being honest with yourself about what you personally need. Because chances are if you do that and you really focus on what's going to work for you and make you feel the best, you are also going to go further and be more sustainable, just like all these other people. The second thing is being happy for these people. If we're going to follow people and be friends with them on these social media platforms, then why wouldn't we be happy for them? Which then takes me right into my third message, which is if following someone doesn't make you feel good, it actually triggers maybe over and over the sense of pressure and negative thinking and negative feelings. Unfollow them. That's a choice that we have. And I know it can be kind of hard sometimes because whatever their account is about can be like really exciting or about a subject that we love and really gets us going. But if it keeps being presented in a way or just following it in general, keeps triggering that negative pressured feeling that we're getting, we actually have control in this situation and we can unfollow it. Side note, this one lady that I follow, I'll have to find her account, but all she does is post polka dot stuff. So everything has polka dots on it. And it's, first of all, genius. Second of all, it's just fun and it's not negative, it's not showing off, it's just polka dots. So really weeding out your social media account followings I don't know if that's how you say it, but weeding out what you follow can really make a big, big impact. And then maybe following things that actually make you feel good. Sunrises or bikes, the pressure to not waste time. So when we start to hear from people or feel pressured by other people to do things, that can definitely sort of put us in that mindset. Or again, if we are in that sort of realm of what our own personal expectations are of ourselves and what to do with free time. I definitely used to be like that, where it's like, well, if I have free time, it's not actually free time. It's time to do all the other things that I want to do. And then I never actually had chill time. But if you're in quarantine and you do feel like you have free time, there can be a lot of pressure to not take it for granted and use it, soak it up for all it's worth. Maybe catch up on a lot of things around the house that you wanted to do or changes that you wanted to make within yourself. Filling that time can be a huge pressure, especially if there's a lot of time. So I encourage all of us to sit down, if we haven't already, and really be honest with ourselves about what we need. Basically, what I mean is just being honest with yourself about what feels right, what feels good, that's healthy for you. What do I need? What's going to really feed my soul and help me be sustainable emotionally, mentally, physically, now during this time and after? If that means using most of this quarantine time to not really do much because beforehand you were so overbooked and you didn't know how to get out of it, now you've been given a gift of recovery. Take that. If it is keeping busy, cool. Like, that's totally fine. If it's a mix of the two, cool. Just making sure that this time, now and moving forward, is spent meaningfully. And again, whether that's actually being physically productive or if that's recovering and recuperating. As long as you do any of those things in a meaningful, honest way to yourself, it's actually going to help remove that pressure and help you live in more joy. When it comes to not being able to work in this circumstance, that can be terrifying and scary and a huge, giant amount of pressure. During this quarantine period, I myself have been affected by not being able to work as much, but I am extremely blessed that my situation is not dire. And I understand that, and I'm thankful for that every single day. And that does not mean that I am not sending my love and my heart and my warmth and my thoughts and my prayers to all of you out there who are not able to work right now or weren't able to work. All I can say is something that I had to learn years ago, and that is that right now, if you aren't able to work, and all of us, one thing that I had to learn is that life is hills and valleys. And sometimes we're in the valley, and sometimes we're on the hill. Sometimes we have to climb up to get on top of that hill. But life is ups and downs. And so I just want to remind you that even though you might be in the valley right now and it sucks, the hill is coming. And for all of us watching, whether or not you're able to work or not, we are experiencing hills and valleys in different areas of our lives. And to know that even if we have to climb up that mountain sometimes, getting to the top is in our near future, and this isn't it for you. The mountaintop is coming, and grow where you've been planted. I'm not going to get into that a lot, but that's also something I've had to tell myself and incorporate into my life over the years is no matter where you're at, no matter where life has put you or how it's making you feel, grow where you're planted. Bloom, blossom, take advantage of it where you can and how you can, and make it work for you the best way that you can. Changes. Okay, there are so many changes that are new, or the stakes are a lot higher, like wiping down stuff that's coming into the house, wearing your masks, not touching things on you, like your hair or whatever. Doing things that we didn't have to think about beforehand, but now do, and quite suddenly. And if we don't, what if? The what if is so big. That's a lot of changes and a lot of pressure on those changes or with those changes. So my main suggestion for that is take each one on its own. When we view them just by themselves, it helps to minimize and lower that overwhelming sense of, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, there are so many things to juggle right now. So if we just focus on one at a time as we're doing them or preparing, that can sort of just help everything feel smaller, release that overwhelming sense of fear and negativity and stress and anxiety, and actually help us focus on doing those things in a more accurate way because our focus is there instead of scattered. And try and make it work for you in a more positive way. So washing your hands. We've all seen the celebrities and stuff posting about, singing cool songs while they're washing their hands for 20 seconds. I think that's an awesome idea. And whenever I do wash my hands, I always pick a different song.
And stay tuned in a minute to see an example of this awesome strategy with a totally random, extremely poorly executed a cappella performance of a lifetime by yours truly. For the most thoroughly clean and chapped your hands will ever be. You will be so cool scrubbing along with some of my top bubble action hits. Random appearances by Nick the Hubster.
The other thing I'll say about that is doing what you can. And really that's just life in general. And as a recovering perfectionist myself, I've had to learn that and apply that to most situations. If there are other scenarios that you're experiencing pressure in that I didn't mention today, you can still incorporate and apply what we covered today into those situations. And for you and everybody watching, I want to underscore especially 3 of the things that we talked about. The first is using that stop, drop, and roll method immediately. As soon as you notice you're feeling pressured about something and it's making you feel negative, using that stop, drop, and roll method or other stress hacks that we've gone over in other videos to try and help us get out of that scary mindset into more rational thinking. The second thing is double checking your sources. Yourself, the source of the pressure, and also your reaction and point of view about negative outcomes or positive outcomes that can come with you either buying into that pressure or not. Check yourself and check the validity of that pressure and those fears. And 3, own it. Identify what your desires are, your true needs, and what really does work for you, and then do it. Own it. Be true to you, and don't live your life for others, because no one's living it for you, so you better live it for yourself. Thanks so much for joining in, you guys. I really, truly do appreciate it. You are my inspiration each week, and I thank you so very much for checking in, tuning in, reaching out to me, leaving comments. Everything that you're doing is helping me understand what is needed to talk about, and it's only inspiring me to keep going. So thank you. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to private message me or write in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't have to go looking for my videos. Hit the bell and follow me on social media. Links are below. Remember, now is just a chapter, so bloom and grow where you are planted because amazing things are headed your way, and I'll see you next time. Early one morning while making the rounds. Don't stop believing. Bow, 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 bow. Ooh, baby, gonna get to you, girl. I'm on tonight, you know my hips don't lie, and I'm starting to feel a fire. I love you, a bushel and a peck. When the man comes around. Strumming my pain with his fingers. Hit me, baby, one more time. You bet your pretty neck I do. And I said, hey, I'm trying to sing.
I said, just like Ronnie sang, be my little baby. 2 tickets to paradise. Pack your bags, I don't know the words.
I would do anything for love.
I would do anything for love.
La 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 la. The shape of my heart. 1, 2, 3, baby, you and me.